Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang might not be a classic Arsène Wenger signing because he cost a lot of money and is already close to his peak, but at 28 he is certainly a man who can lead the next incarnation of Arsenal. Alongside Alexandre Lacazette, the duo showed how exciting Arsenal can still be even if Burnley looked like a team packed for their summer holidays as they made up the numbers, offering less energy than the post-match speeches, in what was effectively a testimonial at the Emirates. Wenger might rue the fact he missed bringing the Gabonese international Aubameyang to England earlier. A striker not deemed good enough by Milan in his youth would have made the perfect project for the outgoing manager, but he is still leaving behind something tangible for someone to work with for years to come. Will Unwin, match report, Arsenal 5-0 Burnley. Wenger says goodbye but will cherish every moment. I was here too. Only goals can save impotent Swansea from the drop the bounce effect from Carlos Carvalhau's appointment in December is a distant memory for Swansea supporters after the events of the last few weeks, but if anyone is capable of reviving his players before their crucial week, then it is the enigmatic Portuguese. Tuesday's meeting with Southampton will provide the former Sheffield Wednesday manager with an opportunity to take a giant stride towards safety before their last game of the season against Stoke. He will need to come up with his very best motivational tactics to rouse a group of players who appear bereft of confidence after 7 matches without a win. Finding a regular source of goals has been the root cause of Swansea's travails. They are the joint lowest scorers in the division, and Carvalhau must come up with a solution. Ed Aarons, match report. Bournemouth 1-0 Swansea 3, Brighton must heed Houghton's wise words. The majority inside the Amex Stadium ended Friday night euphoric, players conducting a lap of appreciation and a broad smile on the owner Tony Bloom's face. Yet in among the giddy optimism came some sage words from the man who has masterminded the club's first campaign back at this level. The potential is there, but it's always best working under pressure, Chris Hughton said. The moment we think we have cracked this division, then it will be a huge awakening. If we are prepared to apply ourselves exactly the way we did this season, then we can develop as a club. I certainly won't get carried away thinking this division is easier than it is. It is testament to the efforts of Bloom and Houghton that, after August, they never languished in the bottom 3. Yet their manager's realism will remain key to continued progress. Dominic Fifield, match report. Brighton and Hove Albion 1-0 Manchester United. Chris Hughton saw his team defeat Manchester United on Friday night. Photograph, Gareth Fuller/P4. Clever Conte shows Liverpool's front 3 can be stopped. Antonio Conte said before the game that squeezing the space afforded Liverpool's attackers would be key to securing victory. His 3-man defense did this expertly by sitting deep and allowing Liverpool to play in front of them. It meant Chelsea had very little possession in the first 30 minutes, but Liverpool's dangerous attacking trio rarely got behind Gary Cahill, Antonio Rudiger, and Cesar Azpilicueta. The few chances Liverpool created were all from distance or taken under pressure. When teams defend deep, Liverpool can struggle, and while this might not be a problem in the Champions League final against Real Madrid, who can be expected to attack, it could certainly lead to a nervy final game against Brighton when a draw may not be enough to secure a top 4 finish if Chelsea stay in form and win their last 2 games. Greg Bukowski, match report. Chelsea 1-0 Liverpool. Liverpool's Klopp criticises Salah dive against Chelsea 5. Everton's travails a worry with new stadium on horizon. Southampton had every right to be disappointed when Tom Davies's last gasp equaliser deprived them of a valuable win. Even Sam Allardyce admitted Everton had nicked a point they did not deserve. The scene after the final match of the season at Goodison, with Allardyce diplomatically absenting himself from a player's lap of appreciation that took place in front of almost empty stands, did not augur well for next season, for the manager's future, or for Everton's eventual move to a new home. Allardyce knows what is missing, and it is not just a statement of support from the board. Moving to a new stadium is the right thing to do, but you need a winning team to make it work, he said. If West Ham were winning games and competing for the top 6, no one would be talking about their stadium. it wouldn't matter. I'd rather look at the overall picture than today. Next season we will strive to get better. Paul Wilson. Match report. Everton 1-1 Southampton 6. Chaotic West Ham would be foolish to ditch Moyes. David Moyes took over a team flailing in 18th place when he replaced Slaven Bilic as West Ham's manager in November. The players were unfit, the squad was full of holes and Moyes was seen as a busted flush. But he has found a way to survive, keeping his nerve despite the noxious atmosphere hanging over the club, and it is surprising David Sullivan and David Gold, West Ham's owners, are wondering whether to extend his contract, which runs out at the end of the season. More than anything, West Ham needs stability. Consistency is getting yourself for level of play and building it, Moyes said after the 2-0 win against Leicester secured safety with 2 games to go. He did that for 11 years at Everton, finishing in the top 8-9 times. What could possibly make a club as chaotic as West Ham think they are above him? Jacob Steinberg. Match report. Leicester City 0-2 West Ham United 7. Wagner offers food for thought by putting squeeze on City in the first half. David Wagner's Huddersfield did something to Manchester City that has been rarely witnessed this season, when Ederson began to initiate a move as he so often does for Pep Guardiola's side. The visitors squeezed in as close as they could. This involved players around the edge of the City area and cramming their half. The result was the Brazilian hit the ball straight to Aaron Moy. Huddersfield launched an instant attack and suddenly City were under pressure. The tactic was not cited again given the flow of the match, but perhaps here was something City's opposition might adopt. At times, in future matches, City are so technically astute they can and will beat this trap on occasion, but it is surely worth exploring as an option next season given how much import Guardiola puts on his number one being a first point of play. Jamie Jackson. Match report. Manchester City 0-0 Huddersfield Town. Guardiola still has his sights on points century for Manchester City. Stoke City manager Paul Lambert gutted after relegation from Premier League. Video 8. Butland lays bare Stoke's shameful truth. Jack Butland was in tears after Stoke's relegation was confirmed by Saturday's 2-1 defeat to Crystal Palace. Tears of sadness, but going by his comments after the match, tears of frustration too. He inherited a squad where, unfortunately, there was ill discipline and players you cannot rely on, he said. When asked about the manager, Paul Lambert, I think the whole recruitment process needs looking at. There's been transfers who aren't even part of the squad for all kinds of reasons, whether it be discipline, lack of performance. Too many recent investments have been completely unused and that's unacceptable. It's been farcical really. Butland said it was too early to discuss his future, but there will be interest in one of the few Stoke players to look like they belong in the top flight. As for Stoke, the long road back starts now. Nick Miller. Match report. Stoke City 1-2 Crystal Palace 9. Watford should say thanks and goodbye to Gracia. Aside from a memorable victory against Chelsea, Watford have not done much under Javi Gracia. A season of promise has fizzled out and the Spaniard has won only 4 of his 14 games since replacing Marco Silva. This 2-1 win against Newcastle on Saturday was Watford's first since 3 March, preserving their Premier League status, but it remains to be seen if Gracia has done enough to earn a longer stay. We'll see after the last game if the club respects my contract, he said. A diplomatic way of putting it, but no matter what happens to Gracia, Watford's players look like they would benefit from being led down a clearer path. Whoever takes charge next season will inherit a talented squad, but one prone to switching off. A capable team require a sense of purpose if they are to realize their potential. Jacob Steinberg. Match report. Watford 2-1 Newcastle United 10. Moore the man for West Brom. Even if Great Escape fails, West Bromwich Albion's dramatic victory against Tottenham at the Hawthorns on Saturday extended their remarkable 5-match run under Darren Moore and enables them to go into the final week of the Premier League season with a slim chance of escaping relegation, a feat which seemed impossible a month ago. It's very frustrating, said the West Brom defender Alan Yam. who praised the work done by Moore but could not help wishing the transformation at the club had taken place a little sooner. West Brom are capable of winning at Crystal Palace on the last day but need several other results to go in their favour if they are to complete a preposterous escape. Whatever happens, Moore has shown he is a serious candidate for the position of full-time manager. Paul Doyle, Match Report. West Bromwich Albion 1-0 Tottenham Hotspur.